Congratulations on completing week 3 of consumer demand. This week we talked about the price elasticity of demand and other types of elasticity. Remember that the price elasticity of demand was really looking at the demand curve. So we have one point on the demand curve that's a price and a quantity combination, and then we have a lower point on the demand curve with a price and quantity combination. It's a lower price and a higher quantity. And what we're really trying to do here is capture that behavioral response, the quantity that changes in response to a price change. And the price elasticity of demand is a way to quantify that change. And when we looked at the price elasticity of demand, we looked at using the midpoint formula. And remember, that was the change in quantity divided by the change in price. But we specifically did a few things in that calculation. When we used the midpoint formula, we looked at the percentage change of each. So the percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in price. And when we calculated that percentage change, we used the midpoint. Of course, that's why we call it the midpoint formula. So we pretend like we're starting at the midpoint between the starting and ending point for both the quantity and the price. And that allows us to really be independent of which direction we're talking about, because we're really capturing that behavioral change of those 2 points on the demand curve. Then we looked at some other elasticities. So we looked at the cross elasticity. And the cross elasticity imagines a price change in one product market. So here, good Y, maybe that's peanut butter. And so something has caused the price to drop. And of course, a lower price would lead to a higher quantity demanded of peanut butter, of good Y in this case. But this would also have an impact on other markets. So imagine good X is bread. So these two products are complements. The lower price of peanut butter would cause the demand curve to shift right. And so the cross elasticity really looks at quantifying the magnitude of that shift in the demand curve. And very similar to the price elasticity of demand, the cross elasticity looks at the percentage change in quantity over the percentage change in price, but it looks at it for two different products. So in this case, a percentage change in quantity of good X divided by the percentage change in price of good Y. And we still use the midpoint formula here, but you'll notice we've dropped the absolute value. And the main reason is that the direction of the relationship here, whether they're substitutes or complements, will influence whether that's positive or negative. Then we looked at the income elasticity, and this is very similar to the previous two, except now the denominator is the percentage change in income. And we can do the same exact thing with that. We can use the midpoint and then not be concerned about the direction of change for those. And then at the end, we looked at some other uses for elasticity, and it's really a very versatile tool that we can use, that it looks at the relationship between any quantitative variables that we could want to look at that relationship for. As we look forward to next week, what we'll see is that we're going to put all these three pieces together. So we've looked at consumer choice, we've looked at demand, and we've looked at the elasticity. As we combine those three components into one model, we can look at the market overall and now have a very robust way to analyze changing market conditions and the impact those conditions will have in the market.